I don't buy a lot of books. I do enjoy them, especially the art books, and anatomy reference books are essential in my line of work, but I find I buy them, flick through them, and then they sit on my shelf. I think the problem I have is most reference books are geared more towards traditional art, and for the most part, the ratio between text and illustrations is usually tipped in the wrong direction. I find there's a lot of theory involved, and I can appreciate that, but when you've read it all numerous times already, it's just a chunk of the book that is skipped, because at the end of the day, all I really needed was some informative pictures and illustrations to study. Some of the first books I bought were by Bern Hogarth, and I'm sure you've heard of them. If you look at the Dynamic Anatomy book, for example, the first 60 or so pages are all theory and history. There are lots of images, but they are crowded by the descriptions. The next book I bought was Anatomy for Artists by Sarah Simblett, and this is more focused on sharing photographs rather than diagrams. There are some nice sketches, but again, it seems to suffer from feeling like it needs lots of explanation. Plus, like Hogarth's book, the first section is dedicated to theory and art history. As good as these books are, and I did use them a lot, they are meant more for traditional artists, and when you're working in 3D, you do need a different perspective. When 3D Total announced its Anatomy for 3D Artists book, I pre-ordered it straight away. This was the kind of reference book I was after, something that would explore the human form in a more sculpted way. When I received it, it was like a breath of fresh air. A book geared towards working in a virtual space, but it again relied on a lot of explanation and in places was more text heavy. Plus, some of the images do get a little small. So I basically relied on Google and Pinterest like many people. If I wanted reference of facial muscles, I would just look at the board I'd compiled from online images, and it would give me something to use. It's not always perfect, but it was enough to get by. The books. Let's get on track now and discuss the Anatomy for Sculptors series of books, and if you like what you hear about them, you're in luck. I've been provided with a set to give away, so stick around to find out how you can win them. The first book, Understanding the Human Figure by Uldis Zarins, started life as a Kickstarter campaign back in 2013 and has since become hugely popular. So much so that 2 more books have now joined it, Anatomy of Facial Expression and Form of the Head and Neck. Anatomy for Sculptors and Form of the Head and Neck seem more geared towards 3D artists and digital sculptors, as there are more of the wireframe type diagrams which are perfect to refer to while you're building. Anatomy of Facial Expression is a slightly different book because it looks more at how the face moves as we form expressions. So there is less about its construction and more about how everything works together. So this could be more useful to animators or technical animators who are building facial rigs. Let's focus on the first 2 for a minute, and what I love about these books is that they keep the descriptions to a minimum and focus more on the illustrations, photos and diagrams. Even those are expertly done, with each being divided into sections to make them easier to follow. Take the torso for example. We are given a photo and then over the top of that are the muscles, each colour coded. Finally, we have what is almost a 3D wireframe, so I can visualise the contours of the body too, which is so important when sculpting or even modelling. The same with the back. If I were to just use the photo, I'd quickly get lost, but the addition of the illustrations helped me get a better grasp of the shapes and forms. I also love how later in the books, more complicated areas like the facial features and ears are broken down into components. Using this approach makes it much easier to model or sculpt, especially if you're not that confident when it comes to anatomy. But what's the cost? There are lots of options available when purchasing these books. You can buy them separately or as part of a bundle, plus there's a hardback version too if you prefer. You can also download the cheaper ebook versions too. The prices are on the screen now and range from $55 per paperback book up to $100 for the hardcover book, or you could do what I did and wait for a sale. The bundles are the most cost effective, but if you could only buy one book then I would recommend the first. If we compare that, which is around £45, with the 3D Total book at £30, it is more expensive. but I feel like personally, I will get a lot more use out of it, and I've already found that it's helping guide me more. Additional online tools. If you didn't already know, the Anatomy for Sculptors website also hosts a free 3D viewer featuring models stripped down to the muscles for you to refer to. They also have a human height calculator too, and it's amazing that all these are free. The team are also constantly uploading tips and more reference materials to their various social media accounts, so I would also suggest you follow them too. It's all these little extras that they're doing to help the community that makes me more inclined to spend my money on their books to help support the extra stuff that they're doing. Should you invest? The Anatomy for Sculptors books have been on my radar for a long time now, and I always put off buying them because I thought, yes, they are expensive, but also that they would end up on my shelf collecting dust like the rest of my books. Now I have them, and I must stress that I bought these myself. I can see that I will be using them constantly. In fact, they haven't made it onto my shelf yet. Win a bundle! Okay, time to find out how you can win your own Anatomy for Sculptors bundle. To be in with a chance of winning, simply visit the written version of this review at antCGi.com. The link is on the screen now, and you can also find it in the description. All you need to do is comment below the post and tell us how these books could help you with your anatomy and which areas you struggle with the most. Also leave your name and where you are located. The winner will be announced on my Instagram channel, so make sure you also leave your Instagram handles, so if you win, you can be tagged. Good luck! Okay, that's another review over. Thanks for taking the time to join me, and make sure you also check out some of the other videos and courses I have available. Remember to help support future content and keep these videos free, hit the thanks button below, visit the antCGi store, or join the antCGi club. You can also thank me by treating me to a coffee at my coffee page. The link is on the screen now and in the description below. Thanks again for watching. This is antCGi signing off, and I will see you on the next one.